Hey everybody, it's Greg again. I'm back. It is Greg again. It is Unbreakable the podcast. It is Tuesday, July the 29th. Listen, lasagna. A lasagna. It's National Lasagna Day. All right. Guess what? Had lasagna last night. Didn't even know that today was National Lasagna Day. Just said to Holly, hi there, Katie. I said to Holly, wouldn't it be great to have lasagna for a change? Haven't had lasagna in a long time. Of course, I have to kind of stay away from it because I have acid reflux disease. But I just felt like having lasagna. So she made a whole batch of great lasagna. I know you like lasagna. Lasagna. Weird Al Yankovic. The song La Bamba, he turned into lasagna. Anyway, the lasagna was good. And so, what a coincidence, right? It's one of those life experiences where, yeah, I say, let's have lasagna. And how did I know that the next day was lasagna day? It's also National Chicken Day. So you can have either, really. You can have national chicken wings, bones, or bone. Which one do you like? The one with the bones and bones? I like the boneless, so you don't have to worry about swallowing stuff. But I know the bone is the most popular. Da, 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 da. Tanya, don't you get it on you sloppy pig. This Weird Al is, I'm sorry I missed him at the damn music center a couple weeks ago. That would have been a lot of fun. Uh, I think he's very brilliant. I mean, he just, can you do it? Can I do it? No. Making up these songs. I don't know, different songs. Lasagna, lasagna. So I'm back. I was out of commission for a little bit. Hey, I had kidney stone surgery last week, and I have another one coming up this week on Friday. Kidney stone surgery, dose. And hopefully this will take care of everything. It's been a long, long journey with these stones. My. But I feel good. I'm able to pee. And isn't it wonderful to be able to pee? Oh, Jesus. It's true. Yeah, I'm feeling good now. Got all those stones out of me. They put the little Hoover vacuum in there, sucked up all the stones. And as I said, this procedure that they did really sucked. And it did. But it's amazing what they can do. You know, put a little contraption up there, laser all the stones, and then you suck them all the dust, all the stone, gravel, all the. I don't want to think about it. Anyway, they're doing the same thing on the left hand side this Friday. So please keep me in your prayers and send any good wishes you have my way. I appreciate it. Anyway, so that's been happening. What else has been happening lately since I've been gone? Well, we talked about it. Oh, I got to tell you, when I was waiting to get the kidney stone surgery, you go check in and you check in and then you sit around the waiting room. You wait till they call your name. And then you go back, you put the gown on, you get into the stretcher, you get the IV in, and you're ready to rock and roll. You know, the doctors come and see, the anesthesiologist comes, the nurses, blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, you're all done. You're ready to go home. While I was waiting, my friends, I'm waiting for them to call me back. There's the waiting room has a bunch of people. All of a sudden, I hear they're calling Mr. Dangerfield, Mr. Dangerfield. And I'm like, Rodney Dangerfield is here. Then I started thinking to myself, wait a minute, he already died, didn't he? Rodney Dangerfield's alive. What the hell? I mean, and Dangerfield, that's not like the usual name, Smith, Jones, Dangerfield. So I'm looking around and I'll see there's this guy, he does look like Rodney Dangerfield, I gotta say it. And he said, I don't get any respect. I get no respect at all. Anyway, but his name was Dangerfield. Was the Rodney Dangerfield. Was actually no, he is deceased. What a shock, huh? I'm there, Mr. Dangerfield, I'm thinking, what the hell? Anyway, so, but they took good care of me down and that's where I'm going on Friday. That is the best. So what else is going on here? Oh, did you hear they're having some of these? They must be crazy Gen Zs, Gen X, Gen Millennials, whatever. Now they want to have a holiday called Summer Weed, not Halloween, Summer Weed, where in the first week of July, Halloween sales for costumes, candy, decorations skyrocketed like 71%. And why? It's hot outside. It's brutal to them here in Pennsylvania. It's 98 degrees, very muggy, and record setting. It's going to break some records today. And yet people are thinking about Halloween. I mean, I'm not even in the mood for Halloween. Halloween it's supposed to be chilly and windy and cool. The days are going to be shorter, but you kind of don't even want to think about it. But that's Halloween. That's when you get the pumpkins out and witches and your vampires and your ghosts and everything. And you set them up, get your candy, kids go trick or treating, and that's the way it is, right? Not in the middle of summer. What the hell? Hey, these crazy balloons. I don't know. But anyway, apparently I heard the news. That's a big deal now. Summer weed. I mean, what the hell, right? I mean, it's one thing that we have Christmas in July. That's been going on for years and years, Christmas in July. But summer weed, is that actually going to become a thing? Yeah, I hope not. Yeah. And the Phillies lost last night in Chicago to the lowly Celtics. But you know what? I give the Phillies a pass because, unbeknownst to me, they were supposed to leave New York after they got done playing the Yankees a little bit. They were supposed to leave New York after their game ended Sunday afternoon around 4:30. Supposed to take a flight to Chicago to get ready to play the White Sox. Well, what happened was their flight was delayed like 5-6 hours for some reason. And they never got into Chicago until like 4 in the morning. Well, no wonder they played like zombies the next day. The boys didn't get any sleep. So, anyway, I expect them to do much better tonight. Oh no. That Jose, Jesus. And I was down at the Canadian when he had like a perfect game going through 4 innings. He was great. And then he lets up like 6 runs in the 5th inning or something. He just imploded. Had 4 walks. It was awful to see. It was terrible. And I don't know about this guy. He's got a great arm, but when he was in Miami, when he was in Oakland, same thing. He seems like he's a little bit of a head case or something. So we'll see how he does tonight in Chicago. But I give the boys a pass because they didn't get enough sleep, but I expect them to come out tonight, ripping and a roaring and beating those lowly White Sox. The Pokes team. I mentioned Pope Leo was happy last night. His pale hose beat my Phillies. Hey, what are you gonna do? Eagles are in training camp. Ooh. It's getting very close. They're going to be playing a preseason game pretty soon. And it's only, 34 days, give or take, until the season starts. My God, football is right around the corner. The Eagles will be defending their Super Bowl title. And the first game of the season, Thursday night, everybody will be watching that game. Dallas, the Stinking Rotten Cowboys, come into the lake and play the Eagles. First game of the year. It's going to be cool because the Eagles are raising the championship banner that night. And Cowboys have to sit there and watch it. And then Eagles get to flex their muscles against the movies. And shown right from the start, the Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl. And there's no question about it. And Dallas sucks. Dallas sucks. Dallas sucks. So right there. In fact, I'm not ready to make my prediction yet. You remember last year, if you would follow me, August the 31st, I gave you my Super Bowl prediction from last year. Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs. I even said Eagles beat Kansas City Chiefs. This was way before the season started. What happened? Daddy was right. Dad trusted Daddy. Daddy was Eagles not only played Kansas City in the Super Bowl, so SB 59, but Eagles crushed them like a great. This year, I'm starting to come around to who I think is going to be in the Super Bowl. I'll let you know by the end of August, but I'm starting to make my decisions here. So in case you want to save a few pennies, put a few shekels down. And like I did last year, we had a few bucks, right? Anyway. What else is happening? Oh, yeah. Oh, rest in peace. Ryan Sandberg. What a great player, huh? Second baseman, Chicago Cubs. Had a lot of homers, a lot of triples, speedy, stole a lot of bases, won like 10 gold gloves in his time. How could the Phillies, as much as I'm a Phillies fan, how could the Phillies ever trade him? 22-year-old Ryan Sandberg. They threw him in the deal. Larry Boa, which I remember, I was pissed that the Phillies were getting rid of Larry Boa. He was a shell of himself there at the end, but still, Phillies traded Boa to the Cubbies for Ivan De Jesus, who was like this up-and-coming shortstop at the time. Cubs would not do the deal unless the Phillies threw in a little unknown 22-year-old Ryan Sandberg. And Phillies, sure, this is no problem. We the hell, this guy. Just throw it in. What the hell? And they did. And that's who the Cubs wanted most of all. And he turned out to be this Hall of Fame player. And he just died this morning. That's not being so. That's not being so. Those who needed to use a nice player, Kelsey, held the ball player, and very humble as first step. Only 65, too, 65 is young. It's not older. People are living into the 80s and 90s. Look at Willie Nelson. Look at Clint Eastwood, right? All those guys. Mel Brooks. Jesus. So, 65 is good too soon. I wish cancer really sucks. I wish somebody would come up with a cure. I wish them would. Jesus, and that before I check in, cash in my chips, I'd love to see a cure for cancer. Did you see that they're doing a lot of research on Alzheimer's. That's the other thing. Yeah? Alzheimer's. Being a social worker in a nursing home at one time, I know what tragic disease that is for people and families. But now they're thinking, along with your medication, in case you have Alzheimer's, changing your lifestyle drastically. Not only it's been proven, research was just on CNN, changing your lifestyle dramatically not only halts the progression of Alzheimer's, but even makes it backtrack a little bit. And there's 4 points. So what you got to do, they did a case study, 40-week case study with people with Alzheimer's. And those who did not change their lifestyle were studied, and those who did were studied. And they found that those who did change their lifestyle, they were much, much improved. And the 4 things you have to do are eat well, which means get yourself on a good diet. Don't eat junk. What they mean eating well is, fruits and vegetables, nuts, good stuff. Mostly stay away from sugar. I do that myself. Sugar is a killer. I try to stay away from the fatty, greasy foods. Not good food. Not good food. But I think the worst, in my opinion, anyway, is sugar. I mean, it just doesn't number. Stay away from the goodies. So eat well, move more, which means exercise. Doesn't matter how old you are. Just get moving. Take a walk around the block. Move up and down your driveway. Even if you're in a wheelchair like me, push around the house. What the hell? Move. It's very important. Don't be stagnant. Don't be in one place. That's not good for you. And I might say mentally move too. Do your crossword puzzles. Do your word games. I play words with friends. Scrabble, Wordle every day. Wordle, and it helps to keep your mind sharp. And I say, do it. Do the cognitive stuff too, along with the physical stuff. Well, it's very important to do that. So you want to eat well, move more, stress less, which means that there's all kinds of ways you can de-stress. Even if you're retired, you could still be stressed out over finances, over life, right? There's all kinds of reasons. So what you got to do is find out good ways for you that you can de-stress. Maybe you do yoga, maybe you run, maybe it's breathing exercising. Take those deep breaths, let it out. But all that stressing. Stress is a killer, let me tell you. Back when I was in the working world, stress almost got me, and I should know better. I was a social worker. I talked about ways to combat stress, and here it almost got to me. And stress is a killer. It's not only does a number on you and your mental health, but it also does a number on you physically too. It wears you down. Heart problems, you've got to get a handle of your stress. There's stress all around life. You're not going to get away from it, but you have to learn how to manage it. That's the key thing. Managing your stress. And the last thing you can do for yourself to live longer, quality of life, and combat Alzheimer's is love more. which means that you want to get closer to family and friends. You want to seek support. Support groups are great. Uh, even if you don't have like an addiction problem or uh, you don't have kids or something like that, support groups are great just for the support. I mean, maybe you're going down to the seniors every day to have lunch with your peers, right? Maybe once a week, something my brother does. He gets once a week, he has lunch with a lot of his old friends from school. He used to go to school with, or buddy with, play basketball with, work with. You know, keep those relationships open. Keep those lines of communication open. It's very important. And I think it's pretty cool to be able to see your friends every so often, whatever. And that's very important. So there are different ways that you could combat the onset of dementia or Alzheimer's by uh, making changes in your lifestyle. You do it. It's never too late. You may be saying, I'm 70 years old. It's too late for me. I can't be walking around the block and playing Whirl and going out to lunch with people I saw 50 years ago. It's never too, never too. That's what they say about an instrument. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, why don't I take up an instrument? I play the flute or something. Something easy. I don't want to like bum myself out by saying, wow, I really suck at playing the piano. Um, it's never too late to try to learn. Have fun. Have fun. Life is too short. I've been watching this guy on YouTube. This Decatur guy, him, Bob Ross. Bob Ross. He had the curly hair, and amazing. He was amazing painter. He did a lot of landscapes, and in 20 minutes, a little over 20 minutes, he had a freaking painting done. He had his colors on his palette there. He says, I'm going to make a happy little cloud. Will you join me? And 20 minutes later, he's got the whole scene, the farm, the barn, the cows, the hills, the mountain, whatever. And he is if you watch him, not only can you pick up tips about painting, which that in itself is a great stress reliever, hobby, but it's got also a very soothing voice, calming effect. Yeah, you got to seek those people out. You know what they say: the company that you keep. Well, if you're hanging around people who are hyper and stressed out, it's going to rub off on you. You're going to get that way sooner or later. So seek out guys like Bob Ross, where you can get his old episodes up on Zoom, YouTube, and watch it. And you watch one every night. It really chills you. Take a chill. What else was I thinking of? The dogs are across the hall listening to music. And every day we play them a different kind of music. Because they like to sleep, they like to chill until they come and stalk me. And they come and, I call it stalking because they all gather around me and they want to eat. Of course, what else? Daddy, let's go out to the kitchen. Daddy, get me some chicken. Daddy, daddy, daddy. So, but right now, they're across the hall listening to the Bee Gees. That's the group of the day, the Bee Gees. Maybe one day we'll play them soft sounds of the 70s, 80s. Maybe we'll play the Temptations one day. And just, But I was listening to the Bee Gees across the hall. And I'm thinking, how we talk about remember when and things about from the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Three of my favorite decades was alive. And think about the Bee Gees, how great were they, man? A lot of people hated them, because they kind of signify disco music. Yeah, because if you think about it, the Bee Gees really started disco, you know? And the Bee, man, you heard that story. Bee Gees were always based out of Miami, Florida. And they were going back to the studio, back to Hope, and they have all kinds of bridges down there crossing the Biscayne Bay. And the Bee Gees were taking their car across the bridge one day, and all of a sudden they were cognizant of the sound going over the trestles of the bridge. And they thought, whoa, listen to that. That sounds different. Let's see if we can duplicate that in the recording studio. Got back in the recording studio, and they reinvented themselves just there. And they were jive talking, Illuminati. And that's how disco started. Pretty soon they were on the Midnight Special, and Wolfman Jack was saying, here at the Bee Gees, you remember the Bee Gees? They have a whole new sound. And people, what is that? You know, what is that? And all of a sudden they did. Bee Gees were, they always reinvented themselves, you know, they had their early hits like Massachusetts, I Started a Joke, Run to Me, all those great songs back in the late 60s and early 70s. But then they kind of fell out of favor with the listening public. And the Bee Gees said, yeah, we need to reinvent ourselves if we still want to be in the game. And they did. They sort of invented disco. It caught on. And all of a sudden, the Bee Gees were everywhere. They did the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack album. They were everywhere. The Bee Gees, probably at that time, were hotter than the Beatles. I mean, people were just lining up to go to concerts, screaming girls. The Bee Gees had this very glowing, healthy, sunny disposition about it. But you know how it was back in the 70s, if you were alive then, the guys would be wearing these shirts under leisure suits, unbuttoned down to their navel. And they'd have all these gold chains on, and like all the chest hair sticking out, and the sunshine, everybody was tan and looking good. And that's the Bee Gees played into all that, you know. And for a while there, they were on top of the world, you know. But then, just like anything else in life, people got freaking sick of disco. It was everywhere. I remember that. You go on the radio. Radio was big back then compared to now. And if the AM stations, the FM stations, disco, 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 and you kind of got sick of them. Only a few radio stations, like some of the classic rock stations here in Philly, still played the classic rock. But I'll tell you what, a lot of the AM stations, a lot of the popular stations crossed over to disco, and people were sick of it. Remember talking about the Chicago White Sox? They had a band disco night where you brought your records to the ballpark, your BG records, and people were like setting them on fire and like bulldozing them and just destroying them. Oh, it was crazy. They just got sick. And unfortunately, the Bee Gees took the brunt of that. All of a sudden, people started hating the Bee Gees because they were the antithesis of disco. Well, Bee Gees kind of left the scene for a while because people couldn't stand their guts. But then they started coming up. They reinvented themselves again in the 90s, early 2000s. they put out new music. It wasn't disco. It was rock pop music again. And they started becoming popular again. Unfortunately, in 2003, one of the brothers died, Maurice. And we know that back in 1988, kind of after disco, but Bee Gees were still pretty popular. Andy did, only 30 years old, died. And sort of a sad, sad thing that happened in that family. They had all the glory, all the money, all the fame, and all of a sudden, brother started dying. Maurice died in 2003, and Robbie Gibb died in 2012. And the only one left is Barry Gibb, who happens to be the oldest. And he's sort of leading more or less quiet life in Miami. Once in a while, you hear of him coming out with a new album or maybe doing a limited tour. But, without his brothers, he's pretty much living a quiet life. But anyway, great group, great group. I don't pin the blame on the Bee Gees alone for disco. I mean, I give them credit. They reinvented themselves, They didn't just do the same old thing. They said, hey, we want to stay popular. We gotta come up with something new. And they did. So Bee Gees will always hold fond memories for me. Very fond memories. Yes, absolutely. So what else before we go? Well, on a personal note, I gotta tell you, my new book that I'm writing, talking about, is called Stronger Than Bone, is coming out early November. I don't have a date yet, but I do. I'll let you guys know. But it is coming out. The second edits are almost finished. Pictures are in, the acknowledgements and dedication. Everything's done. Everything's done. So we're actually going to be seeing it come online early November. It's a digital only thing, my friends. At least for now. But that's good. That's what we're getting into. Digital, right? If you have your Kindle, if you have your phone, your PC, whatever you read your books on, you could order my story. It's called Stronger Than Bone, and it's my life story. And it really focuses more, than this one does, on what it's like to be 68 years old and to be living with osteogenesis imperfecta a little bit. They tell me that I'm one of the oldest people around with OI. So what's it like? And not too many people have written down their thoughts about what it's like, because not too many people have lived as long as I have. I've been really blessed and really lucky. So I thought it would be kind of cool to write down my feelings and thoughts and pass along to the next generation. When I'm gone, people can look up my story, right? And read about what a whole life I've had, whether bones or not, quality life, and hopefully it would give them some hope, right? So that's coming out. And I gotta tell you, down the road, I'll tell you, there's gonna be a little surprise at the end of the book. I'm not gonna tell you what it is yet, but there's gonna be a surprise. And so when you order my book, and you'll be able to order Amazon, Barnes and Noble, everything. And it's going to be available all around the world. And when you order my story, you're going to have access to something very, very cool and special that will be at the very end. And I'll let you know what it is later on down. But I'm very excited about it. So I think it's going to be a fun thing. So we'll talk more about that at the end of the week. So, all right, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And if I don't see you by Friday, when I go back in under the knife or under the laser, well, I appreciate any prayers out there. And hopefully I'll be good to go. No kidney stones anymore. And I'll be back. And we'll talk more Eagles football as we get closer and closer to opening day. And I want to give you my football predictions, not only for the Birds and what they're going to do this year, but overall, overall in the NFL. Phillies will be headed down the home stretch of September. Are they going to win the National League East? Are they going to get into the playoffs as a wild card team? Or, God forbid, are they going to miss the playoffs? I think the Phillies are going to be good because their pitching is always going to keep them in it. But this week is the last of the trade deadline. Thursday, 2 days from now, friends, the trade deadline is up. Phillies need to make some moves in order to improve the team, to get them over the hump and back into the World Series. Or hopefully they will win the World Series. But this general manager, Dave Nebraska, he hasn't done much the last few years at the trade deadline. He hasn't done much even in the off season. He's more or less run the same team back. And I don't know if that's going to do any good this year, As we saw last year, the Phillies just sort of imploded in the players. And I'm afraid, unless the Phillies get another bat for the lineup, and definitely some bullpen help, I'm just afraid the same thing's going to have to get. And some of our key players are getting older, and JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Ranger Suarez, they're all going to be free agents at the end of the year. Are the Phillies going to re-sign these guys? Some of them, none of them. Who are they going to replace them with? I don't know. I mean, for this core group, Harper, Turner, Schwarber, Wheeler, he's supposed to retire in 2 years. Nola, they're all getting older, and this may be the last hurrah for this group. Right? So, to me, you don't want to mortgage your future because you're going to need young pitching like Andrew Painter to step up when Zach Wilson retires or Aaron Nola can no longer pitch. So that's fine. But by the same token, it takes something to get something. So if you want to improve the bullpen for the stretch run, if you want to get another bat in the lineup behind Schwarber and Harper, you're going to have to give something good in order to get something back. So it may not be a bad idea to go all in a little bit here, knowing that these guys are getting older and not getting any younger, and the window of opportunity is starting to close. So it will be interesting to see what, if anything, the Phillies do by Thursday. Would I be disappointed if Thursday comes around and the Phillies haven't significantly improved their team? Yes, I would be very disappointed because they have a solid team now. They may or may not win the East. The Mets are in first place right now. But do I really think the Phillies are going to win the World Championship this year without some help? No. Realistically, I don't think the Phillies can win the World Series without some help. So, boys, go and get it done. Get it done so that we could party like it's 1999 later in the season. Wouldn't that be great? Phillies win the World Series, Eagles win the Super Bowl again. Huh? Oh, Jesus. I'll be doing the wheelies here in my bedroom. Okay, everybody. Well, take care. Go Phillies tonight over those tailhoes in Chicago. And everybody take care of yourself. Stay cool. And I'll talk to you again soon. Okay. Peace and love. Love you guys. Talk to you then. Bye.